Thank you, Joe, for taking time out of your day, man. I'm so honored to be able to talk to you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude. So just doing some research on you. You're a filmmaker, you're a social media manager, you're a motivator, man. I mean, just out there just putting out videos. You did this really cool thing earlier this year where you did this workout for 100 days and you documented it. Just curious, what made you decide to start working out on that, and why did you decide to document it?
So I started working out a little bit. It was but before then, like the year before, it wasn't very organized though.
Yeah.
Like I would do it maybe every other day. Didn't really know what I was doing or anything.
Sure.
Maybe just lift a 6-pound weight every so often. And so you got to understand, I have Marfan syndrome.
Okay.
Which is a condition, connective tissue disorder that I was born with. I'll have it my whole life. There's no cure or anything. And basically it just means I'm really skinny. I get heart problems, lung problems, stuff like that. And so all my life I've been told like what I can't do. Mm-hmm. I think what inspired me to start, this is going to sound funny, what inspired me to start that whole documentation and that whole maybe more hardcore workout, let's say journey, was a girl.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
I don't think so. Well, it's kind of a sad story. I was really into this one girl, and then I got rejected by her, long story short. And I guess I just took that really hard. I took it harder than I thought I would, because I thought I was at a good place, just mentally and like with my own self. And I realized that I was probably putting too much stake on what other people thought of me. And I decided, maybe I just got to do something for me now. Just do something to improve myself, something that's not for a girl or for anyone else or for attention, although I do like attention. So it might seem funny, but I started working out because of that, because for myself, because I thought it would be cool. I thought it would be cool to see how far I could take this. I say this in the video, but basically I'm so tired of hearing like what I can't do. I want to figure out what I can do. And even if I'm running against a treadmill that is going faster than I can possibly run, I might as well figure out how far along that treadmill I can get.
Come on. That's awesome, man. How'd you feel on day 100?
Oh, man. So I didn't know how to feel, to be honest with you. I thought there would be this big old rush. But to tell you the truth, day 100 came and I was kind of just like, oh yeah, it's day 100.
Right. Sure. Absolutely, man. Most people don't do that at all. I mean, you sat there, I think you said in the video, you might've missed one day, but you made up for it. But that's a crazy good accomplishment, man. 100 days. I think you took Sundays off, which is awesome, but great job on that, dude. That's killer.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I didn't think that video would even get as big as it got. It's crazy.
I love that you're raw in it. You're just emotionally raw. I love that you're like real. A lot of people just aren't that way. So, man, I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's just a product of my personality. I've always been really good at just being honest with how I'm feeling. Maybe not all the time, but, I'm human. But for the most part, I've always been good at a lot of people, especially I think men, are afraid to cry. I'm just, I don't care. I've cried my whole life. I've been used to crying. I've been through surgeries and stuff, things that were unfair, things that were heartbreaking and stuff like that. And so crying is just it's just another thing. Sometimes you need to cry,
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Now your YouTube channel is called Joe Lies Down, but you say in there I'm gonna take this life not lying down, or what is it exactly that you say? So I don't screw that up. But
I end almost every video saying this has been Joe Lies Down, not taking life lying down.
Yes. Okay.
Just a little thing that I came up with on the spot for one video that I did, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty catchy. I think I'll keep it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You and I, we share this interest in Sean Stephenson, man, who I never met, but it seemed like such an amazing man. And I think you actually did meet Sean. How much of an impact did Sean have on your life, man?
Dude, I could probably talk for hours about that, to tell you the truth. I never got to meet him personally, face to face.
Sure.
What happened was that a bishop, a clergyman from my church, actually knew Sean personally because he's also a public speaker. I guess it was sometime early last year, I think. Because I would meet with him, to speak about personal things and all that. And he could see that I was, really down on myself back then, and that I was always trying to find some excuse to like just pick on myself. I used the excuse of my body and my condition as this means to just really stomp on myself constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think knowing Sean, he was like, okay, I think Sean can get to this guy more than I ever could. And he was right. I mean, he actually went over, there was some kind of convention or something he saw Sean at, and he was like, hey, could you record maybe a little message? I think he explained my situation and everything. I was like, could you say something to this guy, maybe just try to make an impact or something. And Sean sent me this video of him talking to me, delivering this just really heartfelt message.
Wow.
I made a video on my channel that explains it a little more. He told me, basically, you've got to learn to be okay with all this.
Sure.
Like, other people might have their own opinions about you that they form, and it's probably unfair and all that. But like, the most important thing for you is to develop a great relationship with yourself. And I would advise you to spend the rest of your life developing that love for yourself and developing the things that you can control, focusing on the stuff that you do have control over, not the stuff that you can't. Like Marfan syndrome, you can't control that. You can't control that. So don't worry about it. Stop worrying about it. If other people are going to worry about it, that's their problem. That doesn't have to be your problem though. So just focus on the stuff you can control, developing your personality, your sense of humor, your abilities. And I really took that to heart. I soon after I read his book, I don't know if you've read it, Get Off Your Butts. It's a really good book.
Okay.
Butts spelled B-U-T.
Okay.
Yeah. And man, that book impacted me more than almost any other book, I have to tell you. Like,
wow.
I read through that, and like, he delivers just this raw, unfiltered, just talking about his life and the things he's been through and the things he's discovered coming from that place, a place very similar to my own, except arguably way worse.
Sure.
And like, still being the source of positivity and of hope and of happiness and of celebrating your life. Man, that just hit me right here. And that's really the moment I decided, after finishing that book, was really the moment I decided, man, I really want to be a positive influence on this world. I don't want to take life lying down, like, who cares if I have Marfan syndrome? Like, obviously maybe people care, but I don't have to care. I don't have to let that be my definer, Yeah. So,
man, I've watched Sean several times, and how cool is it that he just did that like direct video for you, man? That is just awesome that he was able to do that, man.
Yeah, that was incredible. I watched that. I didn't know how to feel at the time.
Sure. Now, I wanted to shift gears just a little bit. You and another guy, you guys launched a film production company. How do you pronounce it?
It's Balanz Productions, spelled B-A-L-A, and Z as in zebra. But we would say like Balanz Productions, I guess. Balanz Productions. It's just like the first part of my last name, shortened because my last name isn't easy to spell or pronounce. So.
I love the Instagram handle for you, Joe Long last name. It's perfect. That's awesome.
Came up with that one myself. I'm pretty proud of it.
When did you guys start that film production company, and what made you decide to fire that up, man?
Yeah, we probably officially started about, let's say, October last year. It was late last year, around fall time. And it's actually my brother and I. My brother and I run this small indie film company.
Cool.
And we had always wanted to do film stuff, I think, deep down inside. Sure. Like, for me personally, I know storytelling has always just been this passion of mine, this almost in my blood, I would say. Mm-hmm. Just naturally, I just love storytelling. Growing up as a teenager, I thought I was going to be a novelist. Okay. I would write novels, books, fantasy, stuff like that.
Wow.
And that's still on the bucket list. But like, I guess when my brother and I started going through college a little more, we kind of got turned off to filmmaking a little bit. I think I can't speak for my brother, but for me at least, I was a little bit scared at the time. This was like 4 years ago when I first started college. I think I was just a bit scared about all the work that had to be done, all the networking that had to be done and everything. I was really shy. I hadn't really come out of my shell yet. And so I thought, filmmaking is probably just not for me. Plus, I wanted to be a director, but realized, I don't know if I'm much of a leader. I don't know if I have that in me. Can I really manage all of that? Yada, yada, making all these excuses. Funny enough, it was my brother who sort of kicked me back into gear on all of that. He went and saw The Greatest Showman, that movie that came out a couple years ago. And I guess it just had a big impact on him. Like, I don't know what about it had a big impact on him, but just something about that movie. Just like he watched it in the theaters, he was feeling emotions. And he came out of that theater and like pretty much overnight he was talking to his wife and he was like, yeah, I really feel like I've got to do films, man. I really feel like this is what I've got to be doing. And he told me about that. And this was years, after we sort of gave up on that dream. And I looked at him and I sort of felt something too. I was like, and I was kind of like begrudgingly like, oh man, I don't know how we're going to do this. We got like nothing. We haven't even finished our degrees or anything. Like we know no one in the film industry. We don't work for Hollywood. We don't live near Hollywood. What are we going to like, but I still had that feeling. And I was like, all right, we're going to figure it out. Well, let's do this. Let's do what we can, Mm-hmm. Like what Sean said, like let's focus on the stuff we can do, and like everything else will sort of just figure itself out, and like we'll get better as we go. We have to start somewhere though.
Yep.
And so late last year, I think it was November, we filmed our very first short film. It was okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It was definitely a learning experience. Biggest learning experience from that was probably if you were going to film your very first short film, probably don't film the whole thing outside because wind is a B word and it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Being on a set is such a surreal, cool feeling, no matter how small of a production it is. There's just this sense of teamwork and of I think brotherhood and just like coming together to make this work. Yeah. No matter how crappy it ends up being.
Right.
Like, it's magic, I would say.
Now, I watched your film, Hello, Amy, and I will not be able to sleep for the next week. So thank you for putting that one out. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. As a storyteller, I love hearing stuff like that. I might be a little sadistic, but hey, it comes with the territory. Man, that's my sister acting in that one. She did such a good job.
Totally. Yeah. That was great. Now, I think you just completed a new one called Judged or something, right? What's that one about?
Yes. Yeah. That's we barely filmed that last weekend, actually.
Okay, cool.
I won't lie. The pre-production for that one was a bit of a mess.
Okay.
But I think it all came together. I might do a video about that. That might just be my next Joe Lies Down video. Is going to be talking about just how much things probably will go wrong, but you just sort of got to roll with it anyway and do work with what you have, because that's part of a big part of filming stuff, I think, but also just part of most any industry that you're going to go into. You're going to run into problems. Things are going to go haywire. Things are not going to turn out perfectly how you designed them to, and you just got to find a way to make it work as well as you can anyway. And that's a big lesson that I learned from this last production. Like, we couldn't find a place to record at. We couldn't find enough actors until like the week before. We were freaking out about a whole bunch of stuff, and we only had 2 days to film the whole thing. It was hectic, but by the time we actually got down to filming it, it was a wonderful experience, and I had a great time.
Very cool. Now, I think you do these motivational videos like almost every Saturday, right?
Almost. I like to say I do them every Saturday, but occasionally, life happens.
What made you decide to start doing those motivational videos?
Similar with how storytelling's always been a part of me. I feel like inspiring people has always been a part of my life, whether I recognized it or not. Okay, let me do some backstory. When I was born, Marfan syndrome varies in severity. So like you could have it and barely notice that you have it. That's probably a more common form of Marfan syndrome. It's not that big a deal. It still affects you, but you survive just fine. Yeah. But like I have like a very severe form, to the point that the doctors, at least at the time when I was born, they told my parents, they sat them down, they were like, hey, we don't think this guy is going to survive past 2 years old, so just be prepared for that.
Wow.
Yeah. And I guess in my baby mind, I was like, mofo, I'm going to show you what's what. I'm going to survive. I guess I was just a fighter even back then. And then when I turned 2 years old, they were like, okay, but don't expect him to live to 4 years old. And then I lived past 4 years old, and they were like, okay, we're going to stop trying to predict when this dude's going to die. Let's just, whatever. He lives until he lives. Yeah. And so I still have people coming up to me from that I don't even know who knew my family back in those old days. And they were like, man, Joe or Joseph, thank you so much for inspiring me. Cause like, I heard about your story. I saw your family struggle, and like you were just a baby, and you fought through all that stuff, all these surgeries you had to go through, all of that. And like, that really inspires me, man. So thank you so much. And they remember that to this day. And I'm like, who are you?
Right. Sure.
But like, that's just mind blowing to me, that it just reminds me, you never know the impact that you have on people, man.
Right.
You never know. Like, it could be bigger or smaller than you think, but like, you never know.
Yeah.
And so I guess throughout my entire life, I've just been used to inspiring or motivating people on some level, even if I didn't necessarily intend to. Mm-hmm. And I guess the channel was my way of just taking that into my own hands and putting out content that, on purpose, that could bring a little more, just a little more happiness, a little more light, a little more motivation into this world that I feel sometimes can be very, very depressing, and people get very depressed, especially on the internet. I just want to offer some positivity there.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned this earlier, but you've had quite a few surgeries. How many surgeries have you actually had?
That's a tough question to answer because I don't actually know the exact. Yeah. My mom knows my medical history better than I do, because that's just been my life for as long as I can. Before I can even remember, I've been having surgeries. So like, wow. I know it's at least 11.
Wow, man.
I know that I've had 4 open heart surgeries.
Okay.
I know that I've had a back surgery, putting some metal rods in because of scoliosis. That was a side effect of my condition.
Okay.
And I know I've had like multiple chest surgeries because my chest, I guess as a kid, threatened to collapse several times. I don't know. I've had a few.
Yeah, just a few, huh? That's awesome.
No
We'd love to transition to some fun questions. Since you are in film there, do you have a favorite movie?
A favorite? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I will attempt to answer this question.
Okay.
That is very hard to answer, though. I like a lot of Christopher Nolan stuff, so like Inception, The Dark Knight, that kind of stuff. I grew up on all the Marvel movies, so like those have always been a part of my life. I love those. I would say one of my favorite movies in the past year would probably be that Into the Spider-Verse movie they did, the animated Spider-Man one.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I really loved that movie. I loved that one a lot. It made me feel like a kid again in the best way possible. And I think, when you're an adult, it's hard to feel that way sometimes. Like, it's hard to, like, for any piece of entertainment to just bring you back to that space that you were at when you were, young and giddy about everything. And, like, that's what that movie did for me. And so, I really love that movie. But there's so many movies, man. There's so many good movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a favorite band or type of music that you listen to?
Ooh, I like that question. I love music. So in middle school, all I ever listened to, you could look through my iPod and all you would find would be like Linkin Park.
Okay. Yeah.
They were the band that I listened pretty much exclusively in middle school. So I like a lot of alternative punk rock, some metal, some just pure rock and roll. I like some hip hop. I like some rap. I like some indie pop. I don't know. I like almost everything.
Yeah.
It just depends on the song for me. Oh man, they're incredible. I mean, R.I.P. Chester.
Yeah.
Love you.
Absolutely. Man.
But like even Mike Shinoda, he's a talented individual all on his own.
Yes. Extremely.
I got into his album he did right after Chester died. I thought that was incredibly raw and beautiful, and like I love that. I hope he does more stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting to me because the last Linkin Park album that Chester was on, when that album came out, I listened to those lyrics and I was like, where is people, like, why aren't they hugging Chester right now? Like, why aren't they getting around him,
In retrospect, it's pretty sad to look at, like, all of the stuff he put out. You can clearly see he was struggling with things.
Yeah.
Like,
man.
if I could go back and just, like, give him a hug, I would, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question for you. There's a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs. They do this cold shower thing. Are you a cold shower guy in the morning?
Oh, man, I wish I had the cojones for that, man.
For sure.
Oh, man. Dude, like, I hear about, like, Tom Bilyeu talks about how he always showers cold and everything, and he recommends take a cold shower. And I'm just like, man, I just really love warm showers, dude.
Right.
Totally. That's like one of my guilty pleasures that I have yet to have the self-control to give up at this juncture, at least. Oh man, I love my hot showers. Maybe part of that is like being in the hospital, and like you just learn to appreciate things when you're home. And like one of those things is being in my own bed. Another one is having a warm shower all over your body. And it's just, oh man, it's such a sweet feeling. I love it.
Awesome. Well, Joe, I wanted to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to anyone, friends, family. The floor is yours to really just do whatever, say thank you, post people, to your website or anything like that. And I'll put links to your website and your YouTube channel and all that stuff in the description. But the floor is yours, man.
All right. Huge shout out to my brother Ulysses. Man, dude, if you're watching this, you probably are. I love you, man. You've been there for me since day one. Anytime I'm having a low day, Ulysses always lifts me up. He's been a huge anchor for me, and just a huge support, and a great brother and a great business partner all rolled into one, which is so rare. And I just, I love you, man. Love you forever. Another shout out would be to his wife, Bethany, who takes care of him and probably me way more than any of us deserve. She is such an angel, and I love her so much. And Ulysses, you chose well, and you are probably the luckiest guy alive. So thank you, Bethany. Obviously, Mom and Dad, thank you so much. I love you guys. Without my dad's foundation of hard work and like getting stuff done, he works like a madman all day. That inspires me like every day. Mm-hmm. And my mom just always being there for me throughout my entire journey, throughout all my surgeries. She was always by my side. So like, I love you, Mom. Love you forever. And just my entire family. I love you guys. Love all of you. Check out Joe Lies Down. That's my personal channel. I give motivational and inspirational thoughts. I try to give them once a week, most of the time once a week. And you'll find my workout videos there and all that. Also, check out Balanz Productions, my filmmaking company. We have 2 short films out right now. You can check them out on YouTube and Facebook. We also have an Instagram and a TikTok if you want to check those out. 3rd short film coming very soon, Judge. So keep your eye out for that.
Man, Joe, it's like I said, it's been an honor to talk to you. It was really cool. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
You're changing lives, man.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging around. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more videos from Top Rated MMA and the Bearded Biz Show, please click the playlist and also hit subscribe to our channel. Become part of the Top Rated MMA and Bearded Biz community. We would really appreciate your support. Also, please leave a comment below. I will read and respond to all of them. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day.